Hey, I'm Mike.
I'm Chris Keekstra. I just got finished up with our October Board of Directors meeting, and it was a nice, good discussion again. I probably said this way too many times this year. Probably every single meeting this year that seems like our agenda is small, and it ends up being a long meeting because we have such good discussion. We have such great people around that table, and we had to add two more people around that table today. We had our 2 new directors. We really appreciate having those new people on board. But we talked about a couple things. One, we just got back from the Michigan Realtor Convention, and we learned a lot again about
as always
what's going on in, around the state of Michigan. One of the things I just want to point out, the Beverly Carter story, this the murder of an agent. Her son was there at the convention, gave her story, and wow, it really struck me, and about how we do need to be safe in our industry and all the different things that can happen, and so sometimes it's simple.
Right.
So our safety committee here has been working on that for the last few years. Dale Stuckey's done a great job of leading that group from his presidency on, and just pay attention to what they're telling you, and there's a lot of good safety tips there. So that was just one that really struck me at the convention. What else?
What else? For me, a lot of great education. I think it's good to get outside of our little burg. Sometimes we get really entrenched in what we're doing on a day-to-day level, and just to get outside, see what people are doing across town, across the state, across different quote-unquote county lines or whatever it might be, because of what they're doing in the UP or the east side of the state or whatever it might be. Maybe a little different, so that's great to learn about. And another thing that is great is just networking with other brokers, different people that are there, because we really get a lot out of how do you see this? Is it, is it, what's the state doing in your opinion, or whatever the situation is. Really worthwhile to go. So if you haven't been, recommend it. They do it every year, and great, fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, talking to other people in the industry and learning what they're doing is so awesome, especially around the meals, around tables, and all that kind of stuff. So, and we get to know the board of directors here, people in leadership, a whole lot better too, on a more personal level. So that's another benefit of going to those. Let's see some other updates. Some things that we do sometimes. At our board meetings is we have a membership application that was flagged for some reason, and we have to look it over and talk about it to make sure there will be a proper membership, be a good person, a good fit for GRAR. We always give the person a chance to talk about maybe some past history of some issues they may have had, and give them a chance to tell us why they'd be a good fit for our membership. So we had another one of those today, and so we'll be following up on that over the next couple months. And then we talked about the Home Snap, which I think we talked about our last meeting. We're putting a task force together with that, but now MSHRC is also looking at that. So we're going to put that off for another month until MSHRC looks at it, and we'll be talking about maybe doing that in the future, maybe through MSHRC instead of on our own. So then we got into the seller's disclosure.
Yeah, seller's disclosure. Well, we had a conversation about seller's disclosure. Partly what spurred it was one of the members asked about they had a customer that didn't want to fill out seller's disclosure. They wanted to just leave it blank, and they weren't one of the qualified reasons to not fill it out. Exemptions, that's the right word for it. And so really, as we haven't changed our policy, is state law to fill it out, so we just have left that the same. But just to let you know, there is a discussion on a regular basis of all these different things that are going on at our association.
So our policy is staying the same on those. So. And then we had another policy, someone else wanted to change another policy
for virtual staging. So those of you that have done virtual staging or are doing virtual staging, whether you're adding some furniture in for aesthetics, or you're thinking it looks better for safety, any of those type of things, they wanted to make if you have something that's virtually staged, you're required by our bylaws at the moment to have 8-point font size on the picture
says virtually staged.
Sure, says virtually staged, right? So what they wanted to do is remove those long discussion, much longer than you think you would have on something like that. But at the end of the day, we're trying to make good policy, so we did not change any of that because there's some definite reasons to keep something like that.
All right, then we got into the Forms Committee, the MLS Task Force. I mean, they've all been talking about this for the last year and a half, about putting together some standard clauses that we can use as best practices between agents. And a lot of your brokerages have standard clauses used for, say, when you write a counteroffer, you write that a septic needs to be pumped, or the sales price needs to be changed to this, or escalation clauses, or seller to pay a certain percent towards closing costs. Well, a certain percent of what? And a lot of people always miss the percent of sales price, not percent.
So a lot of good best practices, I think. Yeah,
so we're going to ask our broker members, or any of our members, to submit all those clauses that they're using currently that they think are really good, and then we're going to look through them all as a MLS Policy Committee, and we're going to pick the best ones, send them out to legal counsel to make sure they're legal, and then we're going to send them out to all the agents to use, if they want to, as some best practices, so that we can get some standardized stuff, so that
it'll just help everyone out all across the board. If you says, hey, I'm not really sure how to write this, I'm from a small brokerage or a large brokerage or whichever, but
here's some recommended
language for sure that's been passed through legal counsel as well, and give us a good opportunity to make ourselves better.
Yep. Next thing we talked about was permitting pending status to go to our IDX feeds, and we voted to make sure that happened, and some of us were surprised that wasn't already happening. So now actives, pendings, and solds will be going out to the IDX feed moving forward.
New for us this right now is second video or virtual tour, something like that. At the moment we can have all your pictures, and then we can have one item that you can do that can be available to the general public. Now we're changing that to you can have two different things. So whether you have a drone video or a video for that matter, and say a virtual tour, or maybe multiple virtual tours,
now you can do it. Do we still have that problem with rental ads? Someone stealing our information, pictures, descriptions from our for sale ads and putting them as rental ads on Craigslist and those kind of things. And so they had some ideas of what we could do to keep combating that. And so we're going to be sending out, and we already have some best practices on that. And you can read the newsletter. It's been in there many a times, weekly newsletter. You should read that, by the way, a weekly newsletter.
Absolutely.
Every week. But we've had some, so we're going to add a couple more best practices in there. So one of those is just maybe putting in the description that this is a for sale listing, not a rental listing. And sometimes the scam people just take that verbiage directly, and then people will know it's a for sale listing. Separate in the photo spot, just put in a JPEG that photo that just says this is listings for sale, not for rent. And maybe just have that in your photos. So
great idea.
Just another idea of what you can do. Nothing mandatory, just something that maybe would help.
If you see them on Craigslist, flag them immediately. We don't need anyone falling prey to those type of things because they're just a terrible situation and or call the police. Keeping them being aware that that could happen with any property.
Google alert for your address of that property, and that'll also help you find if someone else is posting it somewhere else. So. And then I just want to give you a quick update on GLR, the Great Lakes Repository. We voted some months ago to join the Great Lakes Repository, and that means that we're going to be getting the data for houses on a bigger part of the state. And that's the best way I can put it right now. We'll be publishing a map of what that actually includes. But we've been waiting for two things to happen. One, a software company had to GLR was working on maybe changing software companies, and we didn't want to get a 3-year contract with a company that they weren't going to be using. So we're waiting for that to happen. We should find out this week what happened with that. And the second thing is we're waiting for Flex MLS to put some barriers in place so that we could have all that data and give that all to our members, but didn't have to share that with all the rest of the MSHRC members, because MSHRC did not vote to do that as a whole. We're doing that separate. So there will be other MSHRC members that are doing it, but they're not, all MSHRC is not going to be
not at the moment, but I think it's
over time that may change. So we're waiting for Flex to put that in place, and we were told January was the date that they would have that ready to go. And so we're hoping by beginning of next year, and I always say, you know, if they say January, it'll probably be April. Just with these technology companies, it seems like nothing never
close enough.
Same thing with showing time, trying to get, when we set up our central lock and getting one-day codes automatically sent. We're still working on that. We've been told it's working, but I tested one of mine and it wasn't. So we're getting close on getting that fixed too. So those are the things that we got coming up. I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we're still working on that, getting the statewide database if possible, and GLR is just the first step in that, getting everybody on board. Once that's set up, we're going to try and get everybody together again from around the state, talk about how it's working, and see if we can get some more people to join in on that, which would give even more data from around the state. So that's where we are with that. Got a planning session coming up.
Got a planning session coming up. Got an annual meeting coming up tomorrow. And
so you excited about the planning session?
I'm super excited about the planning session.
I'm excited to see what we come up with for the next few years. Award ceremony be December 13th. You guys are working on the awards right now, right?
We for sure. We're etching them in stone at the moment with
not glass,
with different items of
putting the people's name in glass. Is that what you're?
Whatever it takes, you know, you're going to be surprised, so you won't know. But then, you know, how many days to Christmas? So we're just under 90 days now. So just to freak everybody out that hasn't done any shopping yet, you get a little bit of time. But last 3 months of the year, October, November, December, let's make them
sell out houses.
Sell a bunch, and
we hope you succeed and are ready for the next year.
Because we have annual dues to talk about. Goodness, there's so many things to talk about. Annual dues.
The weekly mailing alone is worth what you pay an annual dues.
Oh my goodness, there's so many different things that happen, it's for sure. But annual dues, November 1st, I'll make sure that we take care of that before November 1st. That's for the 2020 Michigan Realtor, Mr. MR, GRAR, and NAR dues. And which is, you know what, I wasn't all excited about it when we started doing it, but I am now. It's fantastic to be able to get it done one time, and then you're done for the rest of the year.
Can I promote RPAC in there too?
Why not? Throw some RPAC in there.
If we get enough people to donate to RPAC this year, I think it's like $15 or more, I believe it is, that we agreed to. Doug Merriam will shave his head. We're trying to get a goal of, I don't remember if it's 37% of the members donate to RPAC this year, and it's a great cause to donate anyways. I'm a major investor for the last few years, and I see the benefits of that. So if you give at least $15, when you're renewing your dues and you give $15 to RPAC through there, that'll help increase our percentage of members who are giving to RPAC, which will shave Doug's head. And just
so that'll be just
see
fun.
Doug Merriam around town, wouldn't it be funny to have his head shaved? So participate in that. Otherwise, have a great month.
All right, thanks very much.